Greetings everybody, Barry from H&W Machine Repair here. Today's video we are going to be demonstrating the installation of the RBK-XYN. As you can see, comes with the longitudinal nut, the crossfeed nut, the two keys, the two key pins, the two feed nut retaining screws, and the two washer head screws. Now, full disclosure, this machine that I'm demonstrating on is here for a complete rebuild, so I'm not going to be doing a complete installation of this because it'll just be torn apart for the rebuild anyway. But anyway, let's get started on it. And the first thing we're going to do is we want to move your table, if you're looking at the table, all the way down to the right. As you can see, this is one of those old push-in handles. Our first thing we're going to do, you notice I'm probably 2 inches from the end, which is fine. You can go closer if you want, stay further away. It's just going to make it easier to get to. Our first thing is going to be take off the end cap and the handle. So let me grab my 3/4 inch wrench. All right. Generally, I just lay all my stuff right on the edge of the table because, again, we're not going all the way into this. All right, now we're going to remove the end cap. All this, there's our handle, lock, nut, dial holder, all that fun stuff off. Okay, see, you still have the key in there again. That doesn't need to be worried about. Now we remove the end cap. End cap loose. This one came off. If you notice, this one does not even have any pins. Some of them have pins in them and you might have to tap it off with a rubber mallet. So this one came off real easy. Now we will go down to the right side of the machine. And if you notice, this one has got the Bridgeport power feed on it. So we will have a little bit extra demonstration on that. Now you notice this pin just came out. This one didn't even have a spot for the circlip, but a lot of times they have circlips. You can just move that out of the way. Get a little bonus on this one. You get to see how to remove the Bridgeport power feed if you've never done it before. The procedure we're doing here today, we will not be removing the yoke. The only time we ever remove the yoke is if we find out that the keyway is broken, which I will demonstrate that for you a little bit here in a little bit. And put a little support under here because once you do this, it just kind of wants to flop down like that. Okay. Now these are interesting because you can it just pulls off. You notice how it's keyed there, and if you look at the stub shaft, you'll see a keyway in there. So kind of set that down carefully. All right, so we now have the screw nut exposed, and this is where having a nice long screwdriver and a flashlight will come in very handy. And you'll see the reason why we send the extra screws. So if you look down in there, you can see the big headed screw and the little headed screw. The first one we're going to remove is the small headed screw. And hopefully you're younger and have better eyes than I. This is a small head screw that would need to be replaced anyway because it's all boogered up. Okay, and I just usually let it drop. Now we get on the big one. Sometimes these are really tight. This one is not super tight. All right, I'm going to demonstrate a tool I have that honestly you're probably never going to see because this thing has been obsolete for about 30 years probably. Made by Stanley many years ago. I'm fortunate to own several of them. But big hit screw out. Okay, at this point right now, your X-axis screw nut are just sitting in there. In a perfect world, we'll be able to grab this and pull it out. Let's see if we're in a perfect world today. Oh, we are. Look at that. Sometimes you literally have to take a hammer and tap it from the other side. Okay, now what we're looking at here is the old style split nut. If you notice, it's only split about 2/3 of the way. So generally what would happen when you're using this, you're just literally pinching this nut. So you're never getting a full adjustment on it as you're adjusting it in. So what we do is we just unthread it. If you had a problem with your keyway, which I know this one does not, at this point you'd be ripping it out and looking at your keyway, but I know the keyway's fine on this machine. Okay, if you noticed that I use pliers to get this old nut off, it's just because there's a lot of dirt and debris on the end of this. Now normally, again, if this was just replacing the nuts, I would take this screw out, we'd wash it, we'd clean it, make sure everything's good. But because I'm only doing this as a quick demo, I'm not going to do that. So now we're going to get into our repair pack. And we will start the reassembly. Here is the 1070, which is for the Y-axis. 1069 for the X. The only difference is the X is right-hand thread, the Y is left-hand thread. Okay, here is your two-piece nut that we're going to put in. Now, I want to show you something. You can look and see how this is obviously a machine side. This is a cut side. I always make sure the cut sides are facing to the inside. It probably doesn't matter, but that's just the way I roll. So we're going to put our nuts on. Now, when you get up, you're going to come up till the two halves touch, like that. Back it off to where the keyways are lined up. And if you notice, there's a little less than 200,000 spread between there. Now, once in a rare while, I'll get this all together and I bottom out a screw, so I have to come out and go an extra rotation. But that's literally 1 out of 100, maybe. So. Okay, next we're going to do is we're going to put the screw back in. So when you look up inside here, you can see the keyway. Now almost every time that keyway is setting at, oh, I'm going to say 10 o'clock, maybe 10 and a half, 10:30, but the keyway is right there. So you're going to line it in, slide your screw in, and this is sometimes the trickiest part of the entire operation. And honestly, when I do this, I normally am much more centered on the screw. Hope you don't have epilepsy. All right. All right, so we got it started. Now, you notice I'm slightly off on the other one, so I can back it just a hair out. Turn it to where I think it'll go. There we go. Now we're in. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the other side and pull it. There we go. It's all bottomed out. Now we are going to go ahead and put our new washer head screws and our new feed nut retaining screws in. It's much handier. If you have a large magnetic screwdriver, that'll also do the job for you. I can see this one's got plenty of room in there, so we should be fine. All right, I'm already in, bottomed out. thread screw. Exact same thing. There we go. And I just go in until I touch. Then I back it off a hair because we're going to have to make some adjustments. Now, as you can see, I'm out, so I need to thread my screws more. Usually when you're on this side, you have more room, but because of it being a Bridgeport feed, I don't have quite the room. Okay, the actual quickest way to do this is if you're doing one with the standard screws, you can put your handle back on here with your nut and just screw it by hand. But unfortunately, this is one of these safety ones. So, there we go. Our nut back on. Nut, I'm sorry, a bearing bracket back on. This particular one, I'm only going to demonstrate the left. I'm not putting the power feed back on because, again, this machine's in for rebuild, and literally the left is what holds this thing together anyway, so no real reason to get into that. Now we put our back on. Go back on. And I will let you know, this is literally my least favorite handle that Bridgeport ever made. So, just my personal opinion. When we rebuild machines, they never go back with this handle on. They want a safety handle, we go with the black round fold-up handles. All right, now there we go. I have it in, and you can see not a lot of backlash, but at this point, if I need to adjust it, I can go in and adjust it, and we already have a video for that online. We have linked the video below here and at the end of the page. So for adjustments, just go to the link and you'll watch our adjustment video. Now let's go to the Y-axis. And the biggest thing about the Y-axis is you're going to crank it all the way out. And on this axis, I'm not going to do the entire change and everything else because you just saw how we do it on the X, and it's literally the exact same thing. I just want to give you a couple pointers here on the Y. Now this particular machine has a set of accordion way covers. So instead of having cap screws, they have hex head screws in the top two bolts. Again, when it's done, we'll have a different set on here, and it will have the hex screws back in it. I get these out of the way first because they really are just in the way. Now we will go ahead and take our handle and all the fun stuff off there. Again, this one's pulling apart great. There are many times that this is a fight the entire way through this thing. So don't be discouraged if you get one and it doesn't just come apart like this thing. Okay, again, came apart, no pins. So great deal. Now we do the exact same procedure here as we did in the other one, where we just pull out the two screws. And I'm going to take it to the point where I pull the screw out, because if I do run into a problem, I want to give you a couple pointers. Okay, on this one, if you notice, they're up near the top at about 11:30 position, maybe 11. Pull out. Notice when it fell, the big one normally falls all the way through. Okay, now this one, same thing. You want to pull it out and see how this doesn't really want to come out that well. This is what I was talking about on the other one. You can do the same thing when you're moving the table, but you can also do this to help remove everything. Just put your handle back on a little bit. Put your nut back on. And pull it out like that. There you go. We got it out. Now, one thing I didn't mention on the other one, you notice this hole right here? This hole was pre-drilled, and it doesn't look like this one was where the lube line really ran. This one had a system that ran down the middle. But if you pull your nut out and you see a drilled hole where the lube line goes, kind of mark that off and drill your nut, your back nut in that spot when you put it back in, so that you have the oil line going into it again. But I'm not going to go any further than this one on this one, because again, we already demonstrated putting it back in. It's the exact same procedure, and the backlash adjustment is on the other video. We're going to now proceed to the worst case scenario, where if you pull that out and you'll go in there and go, huh, my keyway is gone, or my key is missing. Well, we're going to demonstrate replacing the key. So I have a yoke here that, if you notice, the y-axis, the key is missing. Now, that thing is pinned in, and on this one, you actually can see where the pin is. A lot of times you can't see that pin, so I'm going to show you how I would look for the pin. Okay, I would take a sander. I know about where it is. Turn it on. I would just drop it real good, and then you can clearly see that's where that pin is. You can take a grinder. Grinder does a real good job too. It's not really a big deal. And then what we're going to do is we've got to punch what's left of the broken key out, or broken pin, I apologize, out. So. Use my trusty Cook hammer. And just get on there, and you're gonna oh, there we go. I dropped it. Can't have a video by me without dropping something. Okay, we got it out. There's the broken key right there. See, that's our broken key. So we are going to put the new key and pin in. The way I do this is I take my key, my pin, you can see, you know, it fits. It's not a super tight fit. You can actually wiggle this in and out, which is no big deal. And it's kind of loose up there. So what I do is I put it in and just kind of shine my light down there so I see where it lines up. Right there, I got the hole pretty much lined up. I can put my pin in, but I'm not going to put it in all the way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take half of my nut, slide it on in here. I usually put it about right there, just so I know I'm in the right spot. In there. At that point, you may need to get a small punch or something to knock your half nut out, just to get it free, which I got to go this direction. Ah, you don't want that to happen though. Fortunately, good shake still, okay. Yeah, you definitely don't want that thing to fall to the ground. So, there we go. And we're sliding in and out now. I would suggest you use the old nut. I was just getting quick and trying to do things the fast way. But... So we're sliding in and out now. My pin is a little long here, so I'm gonna suggest, and sometimes these yokes were not all built the same, so if your pin is a little long, that's fine. You can actually put a little glue or something on there. You can cut it off, whatever you want to do. So, but anyway, all right, we have it in there. Our pin's a little long, but we have the new key in, and as long as this pin is in the key, we're in good shape. It all gets held in by the nuts. So there we have it. We have now installed the XY axis lead nuts and the keys. So all right, what do I have to say? You're gonna have to cut it.
Subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications.
Okay, and as always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for notifications. Have a great day.